only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Generate, this is what we're going to try to do.
What your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. I have a dream.
Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Who's bringing the chips?
Guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
There is no constitutional issue here. The command of the Constitution is plain.
And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate.
So how does it sound right here?
That sounds perfect.
Sounds perfect?
I think mine might be a little quiet. We had to start the episode off again with technical difficulties like we do with every single episode.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be a World Canon podcast without that.
Technical difficulties. That's our mantra, motto, catchphrase. I don't know.
We just need a Joe Rogan Jamie IT nerd to sit in that corner and solve this for us.
Yeah, we need a third chair.
Yeah.
We really
Need a third chair.
I mean, there's already a chair there. I need someone to take care of this for me. Because I honestly don't really know what I'm doing either.
That's fair.
For the most part.
DIY. We figure it out.
Anyway, you may have noticed we have camera again.
Camera.
And better lighting. And
way better
also
lighting.
all this black foam stuff on the wall.
The
Look at
black
that.
foam
Isn't that
stuff.
cool? It's not quite done yet. But I wanted to do camera for this episode just to like see the lighting and see how it all works, because we're also going to get a sign and it's going to look all nice and it's going to be pretty and professional and nice looking, but not today. So how you been, Alex? It's been a minute since we did an episode together.
It has. It's been a very long time.
I mean, according to the listeners, everything's pretty much on schedule.
Right.
It's only been like a couple weeks, but I think the last time we recorded an episode was what?
Probably like July. I don't know, August. Sometime in August.
When did we do the
What we do last?
Wait, was it really August?
I don't know, dude. It's been a long time.
Oh. And we lost video.
How does that even happen?
Alright, I think that's for me leaving the cord plugged in for months at a time and never doing anything. So you know what? Never mind, folks. We're not having camera this episode. I'm going to have to go get a new cord before next episode.
Dang it.
But that's okay, because you know what? The studio isn't even technically finished.
That's fair.
Alright, I want it to be a big reveal anyway. So it'll be nice. Let's see, what even was the last episode?
It was Athens.
Battle of Athens. That's
Athens,
right.
Yep.
I'm having to look up our own
Dude, that
podcast
was a
here.
while ago.
It
I
was.
swear that was August.
It was. That episode released August 31st.
So we did it like a little before that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's been a hot minute. And then I had that true crime episode I did.
Yep.
And then the one that I recorded driving in the car because I wanted to get an episode out.
Driving?
Yeah.
Where were you driving?
Here from Seattle. Yeah. I just recorded on my phone. It sounds so bad.
That sounds great.
garbage.
Yeah.
But it was content.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that counts because consistency is key.
This is true.
I'm going to turn my mic up one more little notch.
Little notch.
Hopefully not too loud now. Yeah, there we go. Those waveforms look good. All right, Alex. You been good?
I have been good. Yeah.
You ready for this episode?
I am.
This is a bit of a long one. Maybe. We'll see. It's 12 pages long. The outline is.
Yeah.
Which is quite a bit longer than most outlets that I make. Most of the time they're about 5 to 6 pages. I think the Donner Party was maybe 9 pages long.
Okay.
And this one is 12.
But that's nothing new. I feel like they're typically pretty long. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, and that's fun. That's fun. People like long form content, especially if you're listening to this while driving or.
Dude, you got like a 26-hour or even like a 5-hour trip in front of you.
These are
Stay
perfect.
tuned.
These. Oh yeah, I just love listening to this at work because like all the work that I do is, well, not all of it, but a lot of it's monotonous,
Yeah.
and I'm alone a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So-
Is there a lot of variance to your job?
Honestly, as of late, yeah.
Okay.
Like, there are a lot of different things I'm doing, and now just out of the blue, my boss pulled me aside. I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I sign you up to become an electrician apprentice? So we can get you a license?" I'm like, "Sure."
Really?
Sign me up. Yeah. So now I'm a welder, forklift certified, telehandler certified, and an electrical apprentice.
Jack of all trades over here, man.
Yeah, slowly racking up those skills and
yeah.
certifications.
Big resume guy.
It's gonna
That's a
be
fat
a
resume.
golden resume, yeah. So I can get just about any blue collar job.
Yeah, you might be president one day.
Sweet. But you ready for this episode?
I'm ready. Promotion. I'm ready.
Today we're gonna be covering the Silk Road.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Well-
have you ever heard of this? Because there's
Not,
two of them.
yeah, not the like black market. I've never heard of that. I know that's like a thing, obviously, but like not the term the Silk Road associated with black market. I think of Silk Road as like, isn't like a trade route, like an ancient trade route from
Yeah.
forever ago
So
across
yeah,
the world.
The
That's what my brain goes.
first original Silk Road was, like Alex said, literally just, it was an ancient trade route connecting the east, like India and China, to the west, which was like Europe and the
Yeah.
Middle East and all that.
Right.
This is not that.
Yeah, evidently, yeah.
This episode, we're going to be covering the other Silk Road, which is not ancient. It's actually like 2013
Very recent.
era, very recent,
Yeah.
and was on the internet. And it was similar in what it was for, but very different in the I don't guess the product or merchandise being sold on there. I don't want to give too much away because we're gonna go through the whole story. So why don't
Yeah.
we just get started here?
Let's get right into it.
All right, let's start reading this 12-page outline.
Okay.
Everybody lock in. In the 1990s, U.S. Navy software developers were tasked with creating a way to encrypt intelligence communications via the internet. They came up with the idea of the onion routing system. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Okay, well, really quick, fast aside tangent. Actually, I'll tell you in a second.
Okay.
An onion routing system is an internet access tool that uses layers of scrambling and encryption to hide the identity of anyone using it to connect to the internet. It wasn't until 2003 that the first onion router became available to the public. It was known as Tor, or the Onion Routing Project, under the leadership of software developers Dingledon and Mathewson. Dingledon is a crazy last name.
Ah.
That's better than Thomas Gillespie.
Gillespie.
Gillespie,
Gillespie,
a
Mr.
kind of
Dingledon.
young man. Pretty quickly, people realized the security an Onion browser afforded them. Things like the Watergate scandal caused some to be hesitant to use the internet because if the government tapped telephone lines, what would stop them from tracking people on the internet?
Yep.
Tor just happened to be so good, even the feds couldn't track people on it.
Which is crazy. I
know,
feel like that's cap.
And by the way, what I was about to say a second ago is after doing research for this episode, or like in the process of doing research for this episode, I downloaded an Onion browser on my phone to use.
Really?
Yeah. That will actually literally,
What's it
I think
called?
the Tor,
It's basically an encrypted browser.
pretty much. Well,
So there's no like cookies or it's fully encrypted.
yeah, and it's got its own built-in VPN.
Is like the search tool's good? Like you search like normal Google, like normal Chrome.
Yeah, it works
like,
great. And no, I use it on my computer. I use it on everything now.
I might have to get on that wave,
'cause
man.
it's awesome.
I'd be getting emails. My bank account got hacked.
Oh, dang.
I know I told you about that.
No.
And I feel like it's probably because I'm just using like regular Safari and stuff, and all my Apple devices save my passwords and like bank information.
Yeah, no, that's
So I just
crazy.
use my face or my fingerprint to pay for things online. And yeah, my bank account got hacked. I had to get a new card. So maybe I need to get on this wave. Encrypted browser might be a good idea. Just might.
Yeah, it's great for protecting yourself.
Yeah, it's great when you're watching ISIS beheadings and you don't want anybody to know.
You don't, whenever you're up to some nefarious activities and you don't want people to be able to track you doing that. It's pretty cool, and it's free. So
What is it called? What is it called?
The one I've got is, I think it's just a Tor browser, the Tor browser, or Onion browser.
Onion browser.
It's just an app. Okay, well, Alex downloads the Tor browser.
Purple?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The Tor browser, the one with the onion on it.
That one?
Yeah.
Word.
So while Alex downloads a Tor browser, I'm going to continue on with this. Of course, there were weaknesses which would be exploited over the years, but that only helped the thousands of non-for-profit volunteer developers to make it even more secure. Some would call it the dark web, but in reality, it's just simply a safe and secure browser still in use today. However, it does make surfing the dark web a lot safer for those who do.
Yeah. For every good, there's an evil.
I think...
What?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Okay, last tangent, and then I'll actually get to reading this. But me, like, telling you it in front of your mic, like, I swear, my wife the other day, because she started listening to this now, and she likes them.
Really?
Nice.
I was about to say, oh no, but that's good.
No, she's actually very supportive. But she says, I feel like you get onto Alex about his microphone like every episode, but he sounds fine to me. I was like, oh, really? Dang. I felt kind of bad.
That's just like the perfectionist when you're creating something. I'm the same way with anything that I do.
Yeah, I'm sure
audio.
you are with your music.
Yeah, 100%.
You're
Yeah.
probably perfectionist.
100%. Yeah. I don't mind it at all. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, because sometimes I do like,
Yeah.
I'll just randomly be like way back here, or I'll be like right here.
And it's it's such a different answer.
Yeah.
You're like, somebody listening to it with earbuds feels like you're just running around their head.
Especially if you use AirPods with like the spatial effect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I figured out how to do that too. And
It's pretty sweet.
yeah.
Yeah. You can do the
Fun,
one too
you
where
can-
it tracks your head.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So like if you look this way, all the audio is coming from your right. But then if you look right, it's all coming from your left.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interactive. I don't mind
I
it.
figured out how to do it in the audio editing software, like how I can make it go. I can pan from one ear to the other.
Yeah.
I thought about doing that. If I can figure out a way to record us on separate tracks, just doing that for the fun of it, maybe
Yeah.
messing with whoever's listening. But
Wait, they
I kinda-
record on the same track?
Yeah, these are recorded on the same track because I'm
Interesting.
cheap.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I'm not familiar with this setup, so I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't know how to do things.
Nobody does, dude.
I
Gotta
don't know
start
how
somewhere.
this works.
Yeah.
We're still figuring it out, like nearly 20 episodes in. I'm still figuring out how to make the microphones work, but we'll get there eventually. You know what I've heard is once you hit 100 episodes, that's when you really hit your stride.
Probably.
And we're about a fifth of the way there. So,
How long have we been doing this? Like 3 months, 4 months?
yeah, you, and then
It-
I started in February.
And then with me, it was like April.
Mm-hmm.
I think like end of April.
So it's been a hot minute. It's
been like half a year.
We'll get there. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway, back to this. Some would call it the dark web. Years later, in 2009, there's a Japanese name I'm probably going to butcher. Satoshi Nakamoto,
Sounds right to me.
cool, created Bitcoin.
Oh.
Every computer geek and dark web enthusiast grabbed onto the idea of an encrypted digital currency internationally recognized. This was a game changer in the international market, but of course it also made things easier for some not so great people to use it for some not so great things.
For every good, there's a bad, dude.
A little bit of yin and yang,
Yep.
as or the Japanese. I don't think that's a Japanese thing, actually.
I don't know.
Is it Chinese?
I don't want to get canceled.
Asian. A couple years later in 2010, in a little apartment in Austin, Texas, a young man named Ross Ulbricht had a great idea. He was an avid libertarian and had a strong belief in no government interference and total privacy when it came to the marketplace.
Damn right.
Yeah, just hold on to that thought
For
about
every good,
this
there's
guy.
a bad.
Remember that. There's a yin and a yang. Specifically, the market of drugs and narcotics. There it
Here we
is.
go.
Lock in, buckle in, boys. Ross was a big fan of marijuana, but it was mostly illegal still, and people were getting life sentences just for possessing it. His opinion was that U.S. law on drugs was overly strict and tyrannical. He wanted to change things. After reading a book called A Lodging of Wayfaring Men, Ross was inspired to create a website that people could buy and sell anything they wanted, specifically weed, without being traced.
Specifically drugs. The online drugstore.
Specifically the icky sticky. While doing research for the idea, an online friend who went by the alias Ardo, who also suggested the book to Ross, told him of an internet system called Tor, which enabled anyone to surf the internet without being tracked. Between that and the new untraceable Bitcoin, Ross had everything he needed to make his website. Development took almost a year, which was only made harder by the fact Ross also had to manage a used book website called Good Wagon Books. On top of that, Ross had no idea who was going to supply the drugs to be sold on the website. The problem was he couldn't just take the idea to some drug dealer or else he might get caught, so he took matters into his own hands. In downtown Austin, Ross began renting a $450 a month basement apartment in which he started a mushroom farm.
Of course, it starts in a basement.
Mushrooms. Now I was gonna ask you if you've ever done mushrooms before, but we cannot.
We're gonna save that for another time.
Whenever we start a Patreon, we'll tell that story. The crops took off, and the shrooms, which he tested himself, were really good quality. So by January 2011, he was ready to launch, but Ross was almost caught. Well, actually, no, he was caught.
Oh.
The apartment he was renting for his farm got a leak, and the landlord was called from a neighbor's complaint. When he entered the room, he immediately realized what was going on, but for whatever reason called Ross first to let him know he was calling the police.
Why?
I know, right? Ross's heart sank, and he raced over to clear it out just in time to hear sirens as he was leaving with trash bags full of mushrooms.
That's a silly picture.
Dude, this is like such a Trailer Park Boys moment.
Yeah, dude.
Ricky, get the drink, shrooms!
Ricky, the same scratch. Get shrooms.
Throw them in the bag, Ricky!
Ricky.
Get in the car, bubs. Hold on. Skipped ahead. Barely avoiding disaster and prison, Ross was done waiting. So he launched the site, which he now called the Silk Road, named after the ancient trade route that connected Asia to the West. When one visited the site, they would see a green camel with a rider dressed in desert attire, also all in green, looking much like a trader who would have traveled the ancient Silk Road. Once you loaded in the website, it looked a lot like Craigslist or an old version of Amazon, complete with filters for what kind of drugs you wanted, whether psychedelics or good old marijuana. It didn't take long for people to start visiting the Silk Road from the various forums that Ross had marketed on, though not everyone made a purchase. Nonetheless, Ross found himself working harder than ever. During the day, he would be at the Good Wagons warehouse shipping out books people had bought, but at night, he would take the manila envelopes that they used for books and fill them instead with shrooms.
He's like Drug Batman.
Drug Batman. Going to the shroom cave.
Yeah, it's like during the day he's like doing something totally fine.
Just
the clock
selling
strikes
used
night,
stores.
and then he's the drug dealer.
You want some shrooms? Some shrooms for you.
My
A
Silk
little
Road.
marijuana for you.
Silk Road.
However, it was tough. Good Wagons was slowly failing while also taking a lot of his time, but Ross wasn't the type to just give up on it. Until one day. As he sat at his desk and worked, Ross heard what sounded like the warehouse caving in. When he walked out to see what happened, all the massive bookshelves, weighing thousands of pounds, had toppled like dominoes. This was all the excuse he needed to let go of the business and his few part-time employees. Now he could finally put all his attention on the Silk Road.
Master plan is working.
He's just like cuts to him like slowly loosening a bolt day by day. Like, I don't want to give up on this business, but it sure would be a shame.
Imagine working for that guy and just being like totally oblivious
to the fact
So, like-
that your boss is a online drug dealer.
Yeah. The two rednecks are going to do an episode in North Idaho about a historical thing that you were a part of, but not knowing you were a part of 10 years later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
To
Like working part-time for this Ross dude, just like selling books. It's like he secretly created one of the most massive online drug traffic scandal, whatever you want to call it. That's crazy.
yeah, and then two guys, yeah, like you said, make a podcast in North Idaho for 12 people to listen to.
You think it ever crossed Ross's brain? 10 years from now,
Somebody's gonna talk about
we'll talk
this.
about it.
I think he didn't want people to talk about it.
Probably not, no.
But I don't want to spoil anything, but maybe
Yeah.
he does now. This was especially good for him because at 4:20 p.m. on June 1st, 2011, an article was published on the website Gawker. It was titled "The Underground Website Where You Can Buy and Sell Any Drug Imaginable." Really rolls off the tongue. Really, it tells you exactly what you're about to get, though.
Yeah, that's pretty, yeah.
Descriptive title.
Yeah.
Which was, of course, all about the Silk Road. It didn't take long at all before people, both buyers and sellers, flocked to the Silk Road, each one being met by the signature green camel. So much traffic happens that the website starts slowing down, which would have been a good problem, but Ross noticed something wrong. Every time someone made a purchase, he would lose some of his Bitcoin. Something was wrong with the code and he didn't know how to fix it, so as a temporary solution, he shut down new signups. On top of that, the article also brought a lot of unwanted attention, specifically from the US Senate, who declared a war on the Silk Road. That's gotta be crazy, dude, because Ross at this point, I think he's like
He's just
about our age, making this website.
Wow. Okay.
Selling drugs online. And now he's like seeing in the news some US senator with like the webpage for his website on news saying, all right, we're going to take this website down.
What goes through your head? Like you're just sitting at home, turn on, I don't know, Fox, MSNBC, whatever the hell you watch. And
that's the first thing you see. He's like,
that's
oh,
my masterpiece.
man. Oh man, this website could actually work out. Sits down with his Captain Crunch, say, "Oh crap,
The U.S. Senate? Oh no.
it's the Congress." All right, now we gotta chill before we go down a shaggy rabbit hole. Ross could barely deal with the stress, and his girlfriend Julia even less, so who ended up breaking up with him. To make matters even worse, Julia let slip to a friend that Ross was the creator of Silk Road, who ended up alluding to the fact over social media after a fight with Ross and Julia and a bad trip on LSD purchased on the Silk Road. Some crazy drama going on there.
Yeah.
So Ross Ulbricht did the best thing he knew to do. He left Austin, he left Texas, and ultimately he left the country. In late 2011, Ross started his new life in Australia. Lying down under.
Light.
I don't know why. I don't know. He just liked Australia. The previous issues with the website being fixed with the help of a friend who he then told he had given the website away to tie up loose ends before moving. Also, in 2011, Ross met someone online called Variety Jones on an internet forum, and this is a big player in this story, this Variety Jones guy. He and Variety hit things off and came to trust each other eventually, to the point Ross allowed Variety to help him develop the Silk Road further by breaking into the website to test out its security systems and fine-tune it.
Wow. That's actually nuts.
Yeah, so like this guy became his right-hand man like that.
Yeah.
Like just immediately.
And they're just like on a Reddit forum. They've never actually met.
They have no idea who each other is. Well, actually, you'll find out that Ross knew exactly who Variety Jones was, because before you hired him, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. It's not much of a spoiler. He had him send identity information, like a driver's license and all that. So he's like, okay, I know who you are. You can work for me and you can start making money off of this. But no one knew who Ross was.
Okay.
Until,
Okay, I see what you're saying.
well, this probably isn't a spoiler at all until he was caught, but
Yeah. Come on, guys. You knew he's going to get caught.
yeah, you knew he was going to
Come
get caught.
on.
That's not a huge spoiler.
U.S. Senate
Don't be
declaring war, you're getting caught.
Don't be too disappointed.
Yeah.
As they talked, Ross came to realize Variety was a bit of a drug kingpin. He started giving Ross pointers on how to run a business that dealt with shady characters and substances. That was a hard word. He told Ross he would have to be tough. One more thing, he told Ross, who went by an internet alias. At that time, I think Ross just called himself admin on the Silk Road website, that he should come up with a tough-sounding pseudonym to hide his identity. They got onto the Dread Pirate Roberts, a character from the movie Princess Bride, who, like Ross, also had a disdain for strong government presence in the marketplace and a desire for anonymity. From that point on, Ross Ulbricht would be known as the Dread Pirate Roberts, or DPR.
Okay.
Ross and VJ, Variety Jones, continued to develop their partnership. VJ became increasingly involved in the security of the Silk Road and gave DPR dozens of tips on keeping his guard up and being smart. DPR had his part-time employees, of which he already had several, working constantly to improve the capabilities of the website and its security. And pretty soon, they were all greatly benefiting from every transaction that took place. So like Amazon, I guess, gets commission on things sold on their website. They're getting commission on every Bitcoin transaction, essentially.
Yeah, they were probably raking in cash, dude. Yeah.
Raking it in. Yeah, like a vacuum, like a shop vac plugged into this pipeline shooting Bitcoin back and forth.
Yeah, so it was all Bitcoin.
Yeah, everything was in Bitcoin.
Okay, that makes sense.
Every
Okay.
single transaction was Bitcoin. In January 2012, 18 very special transactions were made on Silk Road. Not because they were big or anything, but they were all addressed to a secret P.O. box in the O'Hare Airport in Chicago, owned by a man named Jared, and this last name is absolutely insane, and I believe also Japanese, Der Yehi Ayan. It's like 13 letters and 1,000 syllables somehow, and it's two separate words, but I think it's pronounced Der Yehiyan or something like that. We'll just call him Jared. Not
Jared.
Not the subway one.
How does he get that last name? But it's just
his first name is Jared. I don't know. I think it was something in a lot of Asians' family. They give like their kids an American name so they fit in more and it's better on a resume.
Yeah.
Like I had a buddy named John who was Korean, but his actual Korean name was like something.
It's not.
I can't
You can't expect an
pronounce
American
or
to
remember.
pronounce that. Yeah.
My tongue doesn't work like that.
My tongue does not twist in those ways.
My tongue
I cannot
is
do it.
only fit for hard consonants.
Paul.
And
Jack.
soft vowels.
Yeah.
Jared, maybe we should do an episode on the Subway Jared sometime.
Subway Jared.
I don't know. It's a little dark.
Who's Subway Jared?
He did like advertisements for Subway as like this dude who somehow lost weight eating Subway.
Oh, okay.
But then he got in trouble for touching the children's.
Pulling a ditty.
He was Diddy before Diddy was cool. He was.
Oh no.
He was pre-Diddy.
Not a baby oil.
Pre-Diddy, pre-Epstein. He was the OG celebrity pedo.
You know, party like a ditty party. Come on.
We should do an episode on that guy too.
Oh no. We should wait.
And
Until more surfaces.
stuff comes
Yeah.
out. I definitely want to do an Epstein one though.
Oh no.
I feel like that would be fun.
That would be fun. That'd be
So bad.
way to get me tilted.
I feel like we lose some listeners on that one, but the ones who stay are the real ones.
Real world canon listeners.
Dude, you said okay. I gotta stop getting off on Instagram reel tangents, but this one I just have to mention. That one you sent me where it's like the caption read me and my buddy saying, "Hey, let's start a podcast together," and us after the first episode, and it's the two guys getting arrested by the FBI, the War Dogs guys.
Yes.
That's gonna be us someday. I aspire to reach that level.
They might be listening.
I want to get sued for billions of dollars like Alex Jones, and I want people
Oh, I love Alex Jones.
creating parasocial.
1776 milk commands again.
Putting stinking chemicals in the water that turn the freaking frogs gay.
Okay.
I want that, and I want somebody to create some creepy stalker-esque parasocial relationship with me. Once those two things happen, I'll know I have made it in this podcasting.
Why the second thing?
I just feel like it has to happen.
I feel like it doesn't need to be there.
I don't know. To each their own.
You have a good stalker, nice.
Just a nice stalker.
You just hire somebody, make you feel good. That sounds... Pause. Hire somebody to stalk you if that's your niche.
Like I'm sure people do that.
Anyways.
Anyway, Jared, not the subway one, the other guy, also happened to be a federal agent working for Homeland Security, tasked with investigating the Silk Road.
Don't want to say I saw it coming, but I saw it coming.
He had purchased the drugs as part of investigating the Silk Road sellers and running a test to see how many packages were making it through security. Of the 18 packages purchased from around the world, 1 had been lost, 1 had been confiscated by an associate of Jared's, and 16 had made it through security to Jared's P.O. box.
Wow.
Those were not very good numbers for law enforcement.
That's terrible.
In Baltimore. Hey, but it speaks volumes to, how good the postal service is at not snooping in your mail.
That's a very good point, yeah.
At least at that point it was.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm sure since then they've probably upped the ante a bit.
Maybe. I feel like you could send anything, though. As long as it doesn't, reek.
As long as it doesn't tick.
Yeah. Bum, bum, bum. As long as it doesn't do that. Or it reeks like dope. I mean, these guys are probably smart. They're probably vacuum sealing everything. There's probably no trace of anything there.
They're all professionals.
Yeah.
In Baltimore, another Homeland Security investigator named Carl Force was tasked, crazy name by the way, it sounds like a video game character.
It does.
Was tasked with taking down the Silk Road. Except Carl would take a much different approach. He had worked for the DEA nearly 2 decades prior and had gone undercover many times, and he and his team decided that would be the right move here once again. Since Carl could hide behind a computer, he could be anyone he wanted, and so decided on playing a very elaborate Dominican drug lord named Eladio Guzman. Of course, no one on the Silk Road used their real name, so he also came up with the alias Nob, the name of a city in the Bible that was destroyed, which is what he intended to do with the Silk Road. And that concludes our intro. So, hey, before we get any further, do you want to take a quick break?
Sure.
And we're back. Dude, why are you yawning? I thought you took a nap before coming here.
I sleep 5 or 6 hours a day.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Alex was lucky enough to get a nap and sugar monster before we started
It was
this.
a great nap, too.
He should be wired for the next 40 minutes while we record this, and you're probably going to crash once you get home, though.
Dude, I'm
What's
sleeping in.
Oh, no, tomorrow's Saturday. You don't got to work.
No.
What time do you usually get up for work, though?
5.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
5.
crazy.
And then weekends I usually sleep in until probably between 7 and 10. It really just depends on what time I go to bed.
That's beautiful.
It's very nice, yeah.
That's nice, yeah.
Yeah.
No, 5 is so crazy, really. Especially for an office job. That's criminal what they do to you.
Well, it's because we work East Coast hours.
That's okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we work the 9 to 5, East Coast 9 to 5.
But why do you work East Coast hours? You're on the West Coast.
Because we're calling all around the globe in the world.
Oh.
So basically throughout the day, I work backwards on time zone. I start East Coast, And then once it's 9 in Central Time, I start Central, then work to Mountain, Pacific, and then kind of start rotating. So that's why we start so early.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of business on the East Coast. Most of the country's on the East Coast.
That is true.
Yeah. So I think that's why they're structured that
Now
way.
they're all underwater.
I know, it's crazy. More money for Ukraine. Love it.
Let's go.
Israel, yeah.
Yay.
Go America. 4 more years of this nonsense.
I support the MIC. I love the military-industrial complex.
Bomb, bomb, bomb.
Bomb, Iran. That's my entire investment portfolio.
Yeah.
I just
All
I
Lockheed Martin.
I
Every
labeled it
dime.
MIC. M-I-C.
I don't even have a 401k.
Lockheed.
It's just Lockheed Martin.
No Roth IRA, no 401k.
No,
It's all Lockheed. It's GDLS, the guys who make the Abrams. It's
Yes.
Texas Instruments because they
Yes.
make calculators and missiles for whatever reason.
Yes.
I would invest in NASA, but I don't think they make any weapons. So it's not worth investing.
It's not worth investing.
No,
No,
it's not.
no. Dude, Virgin Galactic,
What is that?
they, space company,
Space company.
I don't know what the heck to call it. Space company.
No, that's
You
just
like
crazy.
SpaceX, NASA, I don't know.
Oh, I guess, yeah, SpaceX is.
Yeah, so Virgin Galactic, I don't know the full story, but like 2 years ago, all my buddies were raving over the stock. And they were like, hey, they're making this crazy, like, aerospace, whatever you want to call it, jet thingy that takes you super, super high up into space, but not like, moon level, not like out of our orbit, but just up kind of into space. And you could like take trips on it and like go through space. It's like, oh, that's sweet. So
It's $100,000.
it's really expensive. Yeah, it's for like the elite, but they started, doing testing flights and stuff, and they were coming out and be like, yeah, we're doing all these tests and these demos and everything looks great. Like we're about to launch it soon. So everyone started jumping on their stock, all my buddies included. And they're putting a lot of money into this stock, buying hundreds of shares, like thousands of dollars a piece into the stock, and they're raving over it. Because they had an not insider trading, but they had like a guy they trusted, okay, who told
Anyway, they have
them,
legally obtained this information.
they had a guy they trusted who told them kind of
they
where to
didn't.
put their money. And he had never been wrong in their experience. So he's like, dude, Virgin Galactic's the next thing. Like, they'll make a lot of money. So they all did it.
I think I see where this is going.
They all did it. And then, like, maybe a week later, one of their planes or space planes exploded.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a catastrophe, and their stock just nosedived. All my buddies lost a ton of money. And they're like, dude, you gotta get in on this, man. This is the best thing since Bitcoin, dude. This new stock, bro, I got a guy on the inside. It's not insider trading, but I got a guy on the inside. He knows what he's doing. So yeah, that was tangent. Sorry, I digress.
No, that's crazy. I never heard about that. Maybe we should do an episode on that one.
Virgin Galactic.
It's like a Challenger incident.
Yeah.
Another Challenger.
Yeah,
Except, was anybody on it?
I don't think they were. I don't think anybody got hurt. I think they did like maybe, I don't know, it was AI. And again, I don't know the full story. Someone who's listening might know a bit more than me, but to my knowledge, it's a summary of what took place. All my
Virgin
friends.
Galactic.
Virgin Galactic. My buddies lost
That's a pretty cool name,
so
honestly.
much money.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, dude, it's like that's a
rough.
gamble. That's a
It
gamble.
is. Stocks are a gamble.
Yeah,
They really are.
yeah.
I don't have much investment in stocks at all.
Just for me, just 401k.
Yeah. Honestly, 401k.
Pretty safe bet.
We also do like sort of a Roth IRA.
Yeah, I do both.
And
like to do
I've
both.
started dabbling in stocks a little bit, just trying to get like dividends. You know what is a pretty safe, and we'll get past the financial segment of this
Yeah.
episode here real quick. But what is a very safe, and I guess I should quickly specify, I am not a financial expert, and I don't think there really is. It's kind of funny that there's even a need for me to say that because this is a history podcast.
Guys, I feel like I need to say I'm not a CPA.
If you have listened to any episodes prior to this, you know I am an idiot. But government bonds are a pretty safe investment if you're
Okay. I'll give you that.
looking. You don't get a lot back,
Okay.
but that's how safe investments work.
Right.
Acorn offers a really good government bond.
That's Kutcher's
investment.
company, right?
Kutcher's?
Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton?
Pretty sure he started Acorns.
Yeah, I think.
He's like their president or CEO.
Yeah, and I think The Rock now is like a big part of it for some reason. He's like their celebrity endorsement.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good app. It's the one that like rounds up your spare change.
Yes,
And you can
right.
also make like reoccurring investments, which we don't do the spare change. We just do like literally $5 every week. It just
Interesting.
sucks it out of their bank account, invest it into bonds.
Nice. I'll check that out. Because I've been looking for other things to invest to other than just like a Roth.
Yeah, because like a Roth is really long term, right? Like
100%. That's like 40 years from now.
But then like stocks, they can be long term or they can be short term. Bonds,
dude.
they can be long term, they can be short term.
Yeah.
I think the best option though of all time is like CDs or just some sort of checking or savings account.
Like a high
with
yield
a-
savings.
Yeah,
Those are
really
good.
high APY. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which a lot of banks and credit unions are doing that nowadays.
Yeah.
Those are by far the best options because they're
Safest.
safe. They're just so safe.
Somewhere to plant your money where it at least does something for you. Even if it's not that much. You know, if you put just random number, you put $10 in and in a few years you have $15. Like, you know.
A really funny story, and I'll say this real quick and then we'll get back into it. But the first time I ever opened a CD, I did not realize it's a one-time deposit, which I feel like that's something you should have known, which they are. They're a one-time deposit. So I went into this thing thinking, oh, I can deposit more later. So I started out just threw in $500. I was like, all right, I'm going to come back and just add on to it. And I went to go add on to it for the first time. I was like, how do I do this? And it just said, your account will mature on this day. And I'm like, oh, it's a one-time investment. So now I'm going to get like maybe $11 from that.
Hey, man.
Hey,
$11
it's
you
something.
didn't have before.
Yeah, my money worked for me.
Yeah.
It's not enough to...
It's not keeping up with inflation whatsoever, but hey,
No,
it's $11.
we're still budgeting hardcore here, but...
Yeah.
Hey, lesson learned, and that's $500.
Yeah, so vote Democrat if you really like this.
Yeah, because what we need right now is $500 or $5,000 debit cards to immigrants instead of helping the people whose houses have alligators in them
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting involved with more foreign wars, sending out more foreign aid, opening the border, not giving Americans money, I think that's what's best for the country. I think we need 4 more years of
We haven't had a real war for too long.
it. Bomb, bomb.
Vietnam was the last one. We need a Vietnam. You and I need to get drafted.
Dude, no,
and
I
sent
don't want to get
somewhere.
drafted.
Yes, we do.
No.
I need to die on another continent.
Do you want to be like those guys you see in the interviews that are just pale? They just seen too much, and it's just they're so messed up that they're almost like,
stares everywhere, fidgeting all the time.
dude, they're so messed up they're almost like more normal.
Too normal.
The way they just look at you like, I've seen too much. They don't talk about it. You don't want to be that guy, do you? I don't.
I
I
kind
want
of
to play Halo and invest into my 401k.
You know what, honestly, yeah, that's a good point. I like being able to play Halo, which I've been on a big Halo kicker recently. But you know what? I could accidentally go down an hour-long rabbit hole. So before
So if
we
Kamala
say
wins
anything else,
and you get a draft note, the first thing that goes through your head is, but Halo.
no, I gotta play Infinite
Halo,
through again
dude.
for the second
I won
time.
level 9.
I gotta play through the full Master Chief Collection for the 10th time in
I'm
a
still
row.
stuck on that level with the boss elite.
Which one?
Oh, I'm just
Oh, I was like, what are
throwing
you
stuff at
talking
the
about?
wall here.
Like, there is one.
Yes,
There's
there
one
is.
in Infinite.
It's one of the first missions. I haven't played through the whole campaign.
There's like the assassin. Okay, no.
It's
I'm
too
not
much.
gonna do
It's
it.
gonna be-
I'm not gonna do it.
It's going to be 2 in the morning before we finish talking about that.
We're done. We're getting back. For the next few months, revenue from Silk Road continued to climb higher and higher. Around late spring, Ross made a choice that would change the way sellers on his site thought of him. Whenever someone sold on the Silk Road, the website would take a 6.23% commission. Great for small sellers, but kind of a bummer for large sales. So to try to appease people, Ross changed the fixed rate to 10% of commission for purchases less than $50, with a varying commission rates for sale prices until $1,000, where the cutoff was 1.5%. So for you math geniuses, just do the math in your head real quick. But for those of you who can't do that like me, this was to make things fair, but lots of sellers made large profits by selling lots of small shipments. And because of this new commission rule, we're losing more money than before. Ross ended up actually taking a lot of backlash from this idea, resulting in some people deep down in the forums of the Silk Road beginning to talk about making competing websites and boycotting the Silk Road. DPR couldn't have any of this, so he and Variety Jones began scouring the forums, trying to appease to people and figure out any conspiracies. This is when DPR met a promising lead. In April of 2012, he met someone calling themselves Knob. Knob claimed to be a longtime drug smuggler. He said he was a big fan of DPR and his work, and he thought that the Silk Road was a very promising business, and he was offering to buy the site. This got DPR's interest. Despite the recent troubles with the site, it was still valuable enough he was getting requests to buy it. Ross didn't want to actually sell it though, but he did want to get an idea of what someone would be willing to spend, so he replied to Knob that he would only be interested in an offer of at least 9 figures.
Brother.
Knob replies that he's not willing to spend that much on the site now, but he would like to make a spin-off of the website for major sellers called Masters of the Silk Road, and he would like to buy in for $2 million for 20% ownership. Ross wasn't too opposed to this idea. Bolstered by the fact that he was getting offers, DPR thought that the Silk Road had even more potential than he originally thought, and that he had the potential to make it big from his website like Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos. Mm-hmm. But in order to do that, the drug versions, but in order to do that, he would have to draw even more traffic to the Silk Road, which meant more options for buyers and sellers. Since its creation, the Silk Road had been a marketplace for mainly lighter drugs like weed, with the hardest thing being shrooms or LSD. It was making lots of money, but it could make more. I wish we had camera for this part now so people could just see your face when I said that. Because, yeah, we all know where this is going. So in mid-2012, new drugs started being allowed on the site, namely heroin. The heroin took off and revenue skyrocketed.
Sales are up, guys.
Woo!
Keep coming.
You hear like the cash register bring sound.
Ching. Beep. That one?
Ross found, I'll figure something out and plug it in. Ross found himself growing closer to becoming a billionaire. However, and unsurprisingly, this development only spurred the HSI, that's Homeland Security, and guys like Carl Forrest and Jared, I'm not going to try his last name, to shut it down even quicker. The new drugs weren't the only merchandise to be added, because shortly after heroin was being peddled, the first firearm made its way on the site.
No, bad. This is bad. No, drugs and guns.
Oh, this took a really fast turn. That escalated quickly.
Dude.
Then the next, and the next. Now the Silk Road was not only a convenient way to get weed, but was a one-stop shop for all illegal contraband, from LSD to Berettas without serial numbers to cocaine. If heroin lit a fire under the HSI, the guns were like pouring gasoline on it. Clark Forrest started working even harder with his undercover operation, and DPR continued to respect this knob guy more and more. Finally, Silk Road reached the apex of dark web marketplaces when Ross received, and you're going to love this, Alex, received a message from one of his employees asking if organs were allowed to be sold on the site.
If what?
Organs.
Organs? Oh!
Human organs.
It's an endless pit, man. If you could sell drugs, you could sell anything.
It's a slippery slope.
It's an endless pit.
Ross replied that as long as it was consensual between the providers...
For every good, there's a bad, dude. You give people freedom, they just take it, and you give an inch, they take a mile.
Start abusing it so fast.
Well, if you willing to sell his organs, I mean, it's his body.
If they both shake on it, if they pinky promise each other,
if they
first, they could sell a kidney or two.
You should have a kidney,
a liver,
a little pancreas,
a little
spare lung.
Spare lung, yeah. You only need one of those.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks only having one, but you only need one.
You get by, fine. It's consensual.
It's consensual. They replied, as long as it was consensual between the providers of said organs, the seller, and the buyer,
Dude,
then it was okay.
That makes it sound way too professional. Providers? That's like my healthcare provider, my phone provider. No, dude, you're selling organs on the dark web.
The dude having his kidney ripped out of his body and left in a bathtub of ice.
For no good cause either. This is not like being an organ donor. This is like, I need money. I'm going to sell my organs, my insides.
Organs were a whole...
I wonder how much it costs.
I'm about to get to that point. Listen to this. Organs were a whole other game financially, from everything else being sold, even the harder drugs. For instance, a kidney could go for nearly $200,000, a liver for just a little less, and a gram of bone marrow, just a gram of bone marrow, sold for tens of thousands of dollars, whereas a gram of coke, like pure grade coke, only sold for around $60.
Wow, dude.
Mm-hmm. This was the final straw for the HSI, and was now fired up to take down the Silk Road. And they had a pretty good idea on how to do that now. DPR received an interesting proposal from his new friend Knob. Knob wanted to make a large shipment of cocaine, and he needed a buyer. This particular shipment was so big that he needed DPR's help securing a buyer via the Silk Road. DPR was only too happy to oblige and set one of his best employees, a guy named Chronic Pain, real name...
It's like Club Penguin names, dude. This is ridiculous.
People are selling cocaine and guns on Club
It's like
Penguin.
gamer tags, dude.
I know, right? There are so many like aliases and pseudonyms I didn't include of people just to save time on this, because this is already 12 pages long.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be any longer.
Yeah.
But there's so many funny and just great aliases throughout this whole story. Chronic Pain was great.
Funny.
The guy, and you'll probably know why in a minute. The guy had to use like a cane, and he wasn't that old, so like he had a thing going on.
Okay.
And he just decided, it makes it kind of less funny, but it may be funnier for some people.
This is the guy buying the coke.
This is the guy. He's the middleman. He's acting as the middleman.
Okay.
He works for DPR.
Okay.
His real name was Curtis Green. And yeah, anyway, he was the middleman to take the cocaine to provide to the buyer. Once everything was finalized and the plan was set in place, Knob was given the address of Green and the cocaine was shipped. In Utah, on January 17th, 2013, Green received a package at his home in the hills. Shortly after that, his front door was caved in as a swarm of federal agents, including Carl Forrest, searched his house and arrested Green. However, they didn't lock him up and throw away the key. Their plans were a little more complicated. Green was processed by the local police and allowed to leave, but he was told by the agents to lie low and avoid his boss. As part of the warrant on Green, his computer was confiscated for evidence, and Agent Sean Bridges of the Secret Service, you're gonna love the Secret Service here, was placed in charge of going through it. They have such a great track record.
They
those
do,
guys.
man. They hire only the best.
And this is just another prime example. It turned out Green was very trusted by DPR and was given admin privileges to access financials and even tamper with people's personal accounts. Agent Bridges took this to his advantage and began siphoning money from people's accounts, but rather than putting it away as evidence, funneled it into his own accounts.
United States government.
I love the Pinkerton Agency. By now, Ross knew Green had been arrested and released, and now over $350,000 were missing from Silk Road users' accounts.
Dude, that's crazy.
I know, right?
This he's gonna get punked though.
To Ross, it looked like Green had become a turncoat or even took the money and ran after a deal gone bad. Now Ross had a lot of angry clients breathing down his neck. He needed to do something about Green. As the newly made kingpin, Ross was about to make one of the biggest steps any developing kingpin makes.
Somebody's getting whacked.
yeah, pretty close.
Somebody's getting whacked.
On their way to maturity. He was going to punish someone who wronged him. Ross got in touch with his new friend Knob to see what he felt. Knob was experienced in this sort of thing, so maybe he could help. he was only too happy to oblige, and not soon after, DPR received a video from Green, or a video of Green being waterboarded in a hotel bathtub, continually shouting that he never stole a penny.
United States government.
By the way, just to remind everybody, Knob was actually Carl Force. This is Carl Force, federal agents waterboarding this guy who they arrested to get to DPR. They're quote unquote fake torturing him, but literally waterboarding.
He's getting tortured. Yeah.
I read a book for this. It's called The American Kingpin. It's all about this while doing the research for this, and there's pictures of his waterboarding.
Oh no.
Like actively his head underwater.
Oh no.
They waterboarded the guy. And the funniest part is too was a federal level postal worker was the guy who waterboarded him. A mailman waterboarded this guy while they recorded it, which I think is the funniest part of this whole story.
So to tie it back, Green was the middleman for this deal that was set up by Knob. And
Yes.
then a United States Secret Service agent laundered money from
$350,000
Silk Road to his own account.
Uh-huh.
And then Mr. Chronic Pain was pinned with it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. All as a way to try to, I don't know, infiltrate the Silk Road further.
Right.
And even figure out who DPR is. Because nobody knows.
Wait, so the Secret Service guy, I'm a little confused. Secret Service guy, was he doing that for his own gain, or was that part of the investigation?
That was his own gain.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
He stole $350,000.
Okay. At this point, do we know if the agencies are aware of that?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. They don't know yet.
Okay.
It gets better. Dude.
Keyword yet. All right.
It gets better. It gets
right.
so much better. As the newly... Oh, yeah, we already read that part. After the beating, DPR never got the $350,000 back and thought to himself, how could he let that happen? As if someone stole that much from him and only got a beating, then what would stop others from trying to do more to him? After talking to VJ, who had a much more stern opinion, Ross figured his website was like the Wild West. The Wild West had to be tamed back in the day. People would get hung just for stealing a horse until they stopped stealing horses. According to VJ, the best solution to Green was the same idea. Ross agreed. Ross had no idea who to go to have a guy whacked. After asking his buddies, Variety Jones and Knob agrees to take care of it. Not too long after, Knob sent a photo to DPR of Green's corpse. Quote unquote corpse.
Okay.
They didn't actually kill him.
Okay.
He just played dead. Claiming that they had tortured him until he died of asphyxiation, but he never given the money back. Soon after the assassination, which, like we just said, was faked, Knob decided he actually really liked DPR. So much so that he was going to start tipping him off about the investigation going on about Ross and the Silk Road. For every tip he gave Ross would pay him, or DPR would pay him, Bitcoin, allowing DPR to stay ahead of the feds. So now basically in short, Knob, aka Clark Force, has turncoated as well. Full-fledged.
Wait.
This isn't
Say
part
that
of his
one more
undercover work. Okay, so
now
this part was tricky because I didn't know if I should include the whole thing for time's sake, but kind of like the Secret Service agent earlier.
Oh, so he's turned full-blown rogue.
Knob, Clark Force was like, dang, I can make a lot of money helping this guy out. And I've kind of downplayed it a lot, but they had been talking a lot lately.
Okay.
And going undercover, he's kind of gotten too deep into his cover. He's kind of become too much of the drug kingpin that he was playing.
It's like Paul Walker in Fast and Furious.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, shoot, I could actually make a lot of money off of this guy.
Yeah.
This Bitcoin stuff is pretty valuable. So he starts tipping him off about investigations. And then other people like Jared are like, dang, how is this guy staying so far ahead of us? every time you try to like trap them.
Okay.
So just to clarify that, and without trying to do so without going into too much detail,
That makes it make a lot more sense.
so we don't spend another 40 minutes
yeah.
talking about this, because we spent another 20 minutes earlier talking about stocks and almost going on to a Halo tangent.
Which we would still be talking about Halo right
exactly.
now.
I would have had to cut that out.
Yeah.
So we're going to just
Yep.
short story.
All makes sense now.
Long story short.
Yeah.
Now DPR had 2 federal agents taking money from him, and he didn't even realize it. Because he's, yeah. Despite having the green problem solved, quote unquote, and having a Fed giving him inside info, not everything was going great for the Silk Road. In March of 2013, someone on Silk Road going by the name Friendly Chemist messages DPR. Friendly Chemist says he was doing a deal with someone called Lucy Drop on Silk Road and was scammed. The deal was to be with DPR himself, and now that it fell through, Friendly Chemist owes a lot of money to his suppliers. If DPR didn't help him get his supplies or money back, he would release the identities of 24 suppliers and thousands of Silk Road customers. Okay, we had to take another quick little break there because someone's car alarm started going off outside and lasted about 2 minutes.
Okay, stop.
We're back. Ross told him to get him in contact with his creditors to see if he could work something out. After that, he got in contact with someone named Red and White, claiming to be a Hell's Angel. First thing DPR does is try to convince the Hell's Angels to start selling on Silk Road. Then he goes on to saying he wouldn't mind if they dealt with his blackmailing problem. And now here we have a very special segment, Alex. This is where I sent you that little transcript. If you would like to pull that up on your phone, we can get to this little conversation between DPR and Red and White. And actually, who would you like to take? Do you want to be the Hell's Angel guy, or
I'll be Hell's Angel guy.
you want to be Hell's Angel guy? Okay, we gotta set the ambience here. We gotta get very. This is voice acting.
So do I do this?
If you want to, you can do whatever
Alright.
you want, honestly. I'm gonna probably put a filter over, a little background music.
See, are we
Maybe
making
animate
this silly, or are we like taking it serious?
Half and half.
Okay.
I think silly's better.
You think silly?
I think silly.
Okay. Do we know where Red and White's from?
No, and honestly, we don't even know if he was really a Hell's Angel. But we know Red and White was his name.
Okay.
So, would you like to start?
Yeah.
I was asked to contact you.
Or, sorry. Hold on. Pause. At the start, can you read the name, date, and time?
Before every single one?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
March 25th, 2013, 10 o'clock. I was asked to contact you. We are the people Friendly Chemist owes money to. He tells us that you owe him money, and a long, boring story about some of this and some of that. As far as we are concerned, we gave him the product. Where it went, and how does that matter? We hold him and him only responsible for the missing product and money. We don't care if you stole it from him, borrowed it from him, or anything. It was his responsibility to pay for it. He asked me to contact you anyways. What did you want to talk to us about?
DPR, March 26, 2013, at 4:27 p.m. Sorry for the delayed response, and thank you for getting in touch. On the wife. I feel like he's from tech. Okay, anyway. No, I'm breaking the fourth wall. Gotta get back into this. We've had some technical difficulties. The past 24 hours I've had to deal with. Just to be clear, I do not owe him any money, but he has told me his situation and he wants my help. I'm not entirely sure what the best action to take is, but I wanted to be in communication with you to see if we can come to a conclusion that works for everyone. Friendly Chemist aside, we should talk about how we can do business. Obviously, you have access to illicit substances in quantity and are having issues with bad distributors. If you don't already sell here on Silk Road, I'd like you to consider becoming a vendor. Many people here purchase in bulk as well as retail quantities being a vendor, you'll have the protection that dealing anonymously in Bitcoin provides, and you'll have protection against people like Friendly Chemists ripping you off because all transactions are conducted through my escrow. I encourage you to read the wiki and forum and consider becoming a vendor here. So if there's anything I can do as the admin here to help get you involved in Silk Road, or anything I can do to help with your situation with Friendly Chemists, please just let me know. DPR.
Red and White, March 26, 2013, 8:08. That is interesting. How much is it possible to sell on here if we listed every product far cheaper than everyone else? We have a majority hold over most of the movement of products in Western Canada, one of the main drug ports in North America. I have researched your site, and the concept seems interesting to me, as long as it is anonymous, as everyone makes it out to be. We produce LSD, NBOME, ketamine, MDMA, meth, GHB, and import cocaine and heroin in massive bulk amounts. We have a lot of workers who run their own sub-distribution networks for the streets, but if it is lucrative, we are always looking for ways to expand. In my partner's eyes, all they will see is that because of dealing online, we are out $700,000, so I'm not sure we will go for it. Friendly Chemist refuses to meet up with us because of what he fears will happen. People are starting to suspect that he will go to the police, which is not a problem because he would never be able to give up anyone of importance, since he has only ever contacted with low-level people in our group, and they always take precautions, so even if someone were to turn informant, they would not be able to get any charges to stick. It's a shame because he moved a fair amount of product. If you can get Friendly Chemist to meet up with us, or pay us his debt, then I'm sure I'd be able to get people in our group to give this online side of the business a try. As it stands right now, there are people looking for him, and since he has avoided our group, I'm not sure what will happen to us, since he owes us money and is avoiding us. I've looked around your site, and the prices are absolutely absurd. I'm assuring most people on here selling are 3 or 4 tiers below the actual producers or distributors.
Yeah. DPR, March 27th, 2013, 11:38 p.m. In my eyes, Friendly Chemist is a liability, and I wouldn't mind if he was executed.
Wouldn't mind if you were whacked.
Just 0 to 100. But then you'd be out your $700K. I don't think he is going to come up with the money because he seems very desperate. I'm not sure how much you already know about the guy, but I have the following info and am waiting on getting his address. His name is Blake Krakoff, lives in apartment near White Rock Beach, age 34, city White Rock, province British Columbia, wife and 3 kids.
Red and White, March 28th, 2013 at 9:01. I already have that information, but thank you. 1 million a week sounds like it would be worth selling on here once we know exactly how everything works. Even if commission was 15%, it would not matter, as we lose more than 15% doing it on the streets, with street-level guys getting robbed or arrested from losing product, etc. Also, we have kidnapped Friendly Chemist partner Zen already and are on the hunt for Friendly Chemist. I'll keep you updated on the developments.
DPR, March 28th, 2013, 4:59 p.m. I understand, and that is great news about Zen. If I understand the situation, he is the one responsible for your loss. DPR, March 29th, 2013, 10:55 p.m. Hi again, R&W. I hate to come to you with a problem when we are just starting to get to know one another, but Blake, aka Friendly Chemist, is causing me problems. Are you still looking for him, or now that you found Zen, have you given up? I would like to put a bounty on his head if that's not too much trouble for you. What would be an adequate amount to motivate you to find him? Necessities like this do happen from time to time for a person in my position. I have others I can turn to, but it's always good to have options, and you are close to the case right now. Hopefully this is something you are open to and can be another aspect of our business relationship. Regards, DPR.
Red and White, March 30th, 2013, at 12:42 in the morning. What is the problem? We usually tend to stay away from hits as they are bad for business and bring a lot of heat. Is it a problem that can be resolved, or does it need to be dealt with sternly? As of right now, we don't care about him because we retrieved more from Zen than what he took from us, and he also paid for it with his life. Debt paid in our books. Got whacked. As far as rates go, we don't have a flat rate for things like that. It's on a case-by-case basis. Usually we pay our hitters a percentage of what the person owes, plus or minus, how much they can retrieve. If it's a strict English, Alex, if it's strictly a hit because they don't want the person around anymore, it's also different. Does he owe you money, or do you just not want him around anymore? I can send a couple of guys to do recon to find out exactly where he is right now in the meantime, until I hear back from you.
DPR, March 30th, 2013, 1:55 a.m. If you can find his location, that may be enough for me to scare him off. He is trying to blackmail me. Just let me know what you need to make this worth your while.
Brad and White, March 30th, 2013, at 3:31 a.m. If I find his location and use it against him to scare him, there's a chance he will switch locations again. Speaking from experience, it will become a lot more difficult to find him again after that once he knows there are people capable of finding him looking for him. If you want it to look like an accident, it would cost a lot more. It wouldn't be suspicious. He would just leave home one day and not return. If you don't care what it looks like, it would be more cheaper than the accident. We use professionals and not street-level hoodlums who always end up effing things up. How much does he owe you, and how much are you willing to pay? If there are funds retrieved, how much would we keep from what he has when we get him, if he has anything?
DPR, March 30th, 2013, 3:41 p.m. He doesn't owe me anything, but he is starting to expose the identities of thousands of my clients that he was able to acquire working with Zen if I don't pay him off. As you don't take kindly to thieves, this kind of behavior is unforgivable to me, especially here on the Silk Road. Anonymity.
Gonna go with that.
I feel like Nemo from that one scene at the beginning of the movie. Anatomy. Anyway, it's sacrosanct. It doesn't have to be clean, and I don't think there are any funds to be retrieved.
Red and White, March 30th, 2013, at math here of
948, I think.
948. Price for clean is $300,000 US. Price for non-clean is $150,000 to $200,000 US, depending on how you want it done.
DPR, March 31st, 2013, 8:59 a.m. Don't want to be a pain here. Dude, this is such a actually thing. Don't want to be a pain here, but the price seems high. I think this guy might have been a little Jewish. Not long ago, I had a clean hit done for $80K. Are the prices you quoted the best you can do? Oi.
One stipulation.
Excuse me.
Actually.
Cartman.
Red and White, March 31st, 2013 at 11:16 a.m. I'm sorry, but the best... What? I'm sorry, but we can't do anything for that price. The best I can do is $150, and even that is pushing it. Since you need a rush job done, usually we would charge even more. In the interest of business relationship to be, I could do $150, no lower. If $150 does not work for you, we're going to have to pass. We use professionals and we pay them a good price. Red and White, March 31st, 2013 at 1:32 p.m. If you want it done by Monday, that only leaves today. It's Sunday morning here. We always seem to miss each other online. So I'll leave a Bitcoin address in case you want to pay that way.
DPR, March 31st, 2013, 5 p.m. Thank you, R&W. I've only ever commissioned the one other hit, so I'm still learning this market. I have no problem putting my faith in you, and I'm sure you will do a good job. The exchange rate is above 90 right now, so at $90 a Bitcoin, 150K is about 1,670 Bitcoin. If the market tanks in the next few days, I will send more.
March 31st, 2013, 11:02 p.m. I received the payment. I appreciate the offer of Bitcoins lower in value. You know where he is? He'll be grabbed tonight. I'll update you. April 1st, 2013, 10:06 p.m. Your problem has been taken care of.
DPR, April 2nd, 2013, at 12:55 a.m. Excellent work.
Dun dun dun. Somebody got whacked.
Well, allegedly. With that problem out of the way, great work, by the way. That was good. Very professional.
Good. I forgot how to do English for a second there.
Me too.
Yeah.
And there was one part where you were reading and I was reading and I forgot that I had another part right after that, and I was waiting for you to read. I was like, okay, come on, man. I was like, oh shoot, it's me.
Hold on.
Anyway, I think that went pretty good.
It did.
We should incorporate that sort of thing into this more. That was
fun. Jinx.
You owe me a kiss.
You owe me a kidney.
Never. You owe me a gram of bone marrow.
Owe me a pancreas.
With that problem out of the way, things seemed to Ross to finally be back on track, and the worst of the problems were in the past. That's when, in July 2013, Jared, the other HSI agent from earlier, goes undercover as a moderator called Cyrus, I think is how you pronounce it. This particular undercover agent managed to stay on the straight and narrow, unlike the other guy. For the next several months, he slowly gained DPR's trust as much as he could while carefully creating a back door in the Silk Road he could come and go through at will. Which is a little bit of backstory on Jared, which I didn't include earlier for time's sake. He's a computer nerd.
Okay, IT guy.
Jerry knows what he's doing when it comes to computers. And he also has a team working with him to help him out.
Yeah. He has the funds of the United States government
He has the
behind
whole
him.
Senate, Homeland Security
Declared war.
behind him.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of resources.
Yeah.
It was through this method that Jared was finally able to discover DPR's true identity. And in late 2013, the FBI set to staking out Ross Ulbricht, who at this point was back in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
The thing was, they couldn't just rush in and arrest him. If they tried that, there was an extremely good chance that Ross could just wipe his laptop, which he ran everything on, before they even got their hands on him, and then all the evidence that Ross was DPR would be hidden away and Ross Ulbricht would disappear. You see, I don't exactly know how it works, but he ran everything on his laptop, and literally all he had to do was close it, and everything was gone. You couldn't access anything without passcodes or security clearance that only he knew.
Wow.
So if they grabbed him, like, oh, we got you, but he closed his laptop and they open it back up, even if they're able to log in, which wouldn't be an issue, they could do that easily. They couldn't access any evidence showing that he was DPR.
Wow. That is nuts.
So it was like a whole thing of like, for months they're tagging him. Oh, can we get him now? Can we get him now?
Mm-hmm.
Can we get just lots of like chasing him, and the whole time he doesn't know that they're following him, watching him. So yeah, that's sort of the whole operation going on, because we're kind of getting to the end part here. So they continued staking him out all throughout the summer and most of the fall. Some wanted to just use a SWAT team, but that of course was too brash. So they would have to trap him. They would have to get him in the open with his laptop open. After months of planning and missed opportunities, on October 1st, Jared and several FBI agents got the best chance they would get. At this time, Ross was living in San Francisco and would often work on the Silk Road in public places using different Wi-Fi locations to help with staying hidden. On this particular day, he decided to go to the Glen Park Public Library. As he walked through the park, unknown to him, he was being followed by a whole team of FBI agents, and nearby, Jared was watching. Once inside the library, Ross found a private corner and set up to do some work across the table from a fair-complected woman. It was go time for the agents. If they could get him before he closed his laptop, then they had him. But it would be hard to sneak up on him. So before any of the agents moved in, Jared went online as Cyrus to distract DPR. Ross got a message from Cyrus as he sat down over some pressing issue, serious enough to keep his mind occupied. That's when Agent Jared rushed into the library but stopped before reaching Ross. Then the very quiet library got very loud, Nearby Ross were a man and woman who suddenly burst into a loud fight that looked like it was going to get physical. Ross turned and watched in shocked nervousness about the altercation, and as he watched, the woman sitting across from him leaned over and slid his laptop away. Ross noticed out of the corner of his eye and jumped to grab it when he was yanked from behind, and all Ross heard was, "FBI, you're under arrest."
Slick.
Very slick.
That's
dude.
a movie scene, dude.
Dude, I was like reading that part in the book, and I was like, oh shoot, that's
Slick.
actually sick.
Yeah.
Because like the whole library, they were all FBI agents. They were actors. The man and woman having the argument were acting. The woman sitting across from Ross.
So cool.
She got the perfect seat at the perfect time to just be sitting right across from Ross.
That's so cool, dude. That's wow. And he probably just like, I'm just library.
They're just normal people.
Just library, whatever.
All FBI agents there to arrest him. That's crazy.
Dude, that's like in The Matrix. That's like in The Matrix when, I don't know what scene, but it's like Keanu's, I think it's The Matrix, I could be wrong. Keanu's doing something. And have you seen The Matrix?
No.
Okay.
No. I should, probably.
It's a really good movie.
You can spoil it, though. I've had
This isn't
plenty
even a
of time.
spoiler. This isn't even a spoiler. But he's doing, again, I don't know entirely if this is The Matrix. He's doing something. And he basically like threatens bad guy or says something, threatening to the bad guy. And then everyone that's out in public just immediately turns and just looks right at him. All different walks of life. Men, women, every type of person just immediately stops and looks right at him, facing him, all of them in a circle. And then he snaps his fingers and they all go back to what they're doing. And it's just like a moment of like, everything
everybody's
is
here.
hidden.
That's creepy.
Yeah, dude. That's probably how it was for him. Probably just sitting there on his laptop and just
Like, oh, you're all in on it.
like, imagine how he felt. Got away with it for that long, and then
Yeah, like 2 whole years. He's pretty rich at this point.
he probably had a lot of money, dude. A lot of money.
Yeah, not for much longer.
Nope.
Because the law moves as slow as molasses in the court for whatever reason, Ross's trial took more than a year to conclude, but in February 2015, he was found guilty of several charges, including narcotics trafficking, money laundering, and procuring false identities, because he had false passports and stuff at this time too, just in case he needed to run, which he didn't get to do. None of the murder charges came to play, though, as none of them actually happened or could be proven, even the one with the Hells Angels.
Wow.
So the one with the Hells Angels allegedly happened.
Right.
It could have happened. It could have not happened.
Mm-hmm. No way to prove it or not prove it.
I mean, yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Because everyone's identities were hidden in this.
Yeah.
Like, everyone used pseudonyms, and Hells Angels are good at this sort of thing, I
Right,
guess.
yeah.
Maybe sometimes.
Yeah.
If it really did happen, nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, in March, he was sentenced to double life imprisonment plus 40 years.
Wait, what? That doesn't even make sense.
So really, the murder charges don't matter because he's already got double life imprisonment plus 40 years.
In case you got extra lives in there somewhere, we go 40 on top of that.
I don't know what Bitcoin can afford you. Yeah, the U.S. government does not play around when it comes to money laundering
Yeah.
and narcotics.
Yeah. They're like, that's our job.
No, yeah. That's my movement. Ross Ulbricht is now serving life in U.S. penitentiary in Tucson, Arizona.
Huh.
In October 2013, thousands of Silk Road users accessed the website only to find a large banner with the seals of several U.S. law enforcement organizations and bold letters saying, "This hidden site has been seized." And that is the end of the online website where you can buy any drug imaginable.
So, dude, did they end up convicting anybody else or just him?
Yeah, the Secret Service agent
Okay.
got thrown in jail and Carl Force got thrown in prison. So they did catch the 2 agents who were, well, the one who stole money.
They were like,
And
undercover.
Yeah. No, guys,
Uno
we were just
reverse.
really, we're pulling Uno reverse card. We were really with you the whole time.
We're on your side, man.
Yeah. Those guys both got thrown in prison.
Good.
And Green may have gotten a small sentence. Oh, recent news. I think I forgot to include this in the outline, but Variety Jones, after these events, for the longest time, people were like, what about this Variety Jones guy? What about VJ? Who is he? Where did they go? So for 2 more years, they hunted and tracked down VJ. And they finally caught him in 2015. They finally caught VJ. And he's just this old, like not really old, middle-aged, chubby nerd who lived in Canada.
What?
He might have sold drugs before, but he was not like this tough sounding guy that he made himself out to be. He was just smart and good with computers.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of these guys probably were. They probably
It
were
was
like
just Reddit, but Bitcoin and drugs were involved. That's all it
livers
was.
and guns. Yeah, it's like
livers.
you can kind of like hide behind that. It's so much different than like, I don't know what you'd imagine someone involved in that like physical world would be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was basically like almost like a social media, a drug dealing platform. Like they had like forums and yeah, you described it perfectly. Like a Reddit Bitcoin liver selling cocaine gun store. And yeah,
Everything imaginable. And it's all in Bitcoin. Yeah, you can look up old screenshots and stuff of the website. There's pictures on the Wikipedia, and it literally looks just like Craigslist.
yeah.
It's just Craigslist. There's pictures of the products. And it's so funny too, because in the filters section, there's like just a categories filter section on the left side of the screen. And there's like narcotics, psychedelics, and then like organic material, livers and kidneys, firearms. And then under that, there's like merchandise, like Silk Road merch.
Guys, get the t-shirts now.
Get the drawstring bag.
The hat's just released.
We got new coffee mugs.
New drop coming next week.
Subscribe to my Patreon.
You can find us on Rumble.
Yeah.
Dude. That's a pretty wild story. Is there like a movie about this or documentary, or is it just
I
a
actually
book?
don't know. Hold on. That's
I would be
something I
so
should
curious
look
to
up.
watch like a cinematic representation of this happening that includes at least most of what we covered, like the FBI agents who went rogue. It shows more of a visual than just like reading about it, you know. I'm a visual person, so I'd be so curious if there's any like.
Oh, there is.
There's a movie?
There is a movie.
Oh, I know what I'm doing when
It's
I get home.
literally just called The Silk Road. It's on Prime Video. It was released in 2001.
Wait, what?
Or 2021, my bad.
Oh, I was like,
They were time traveling.
somebody went back in time.
Yeah, 2021.
What does it say the ratings are?
Let's see, IMDb.
Like IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, what does it say?
It's got 6 out of 10 on IMDb.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Rotten Tomatoes.
RDT is usually a bit harsh.
Yeah, they are.
Unless it's like a progressive movie, then it's 250%. Go watch it, even though it's horrible.
Silk Road movie Rotten Tomatoes. Here we go. It's got 52%.
I mean, that's fine. I've
For Rotten
watched.
Tomatoes.
That's yeah. What is the audience score?
Is that the popcorn meter?
Yeah.
39%.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
It's
probably still gonna watch it.
It's 2 hours long. 1 hour 56 minutes.
Interesting. And does it say like based on a true story and about these specific characters, or not characters, people really?
Yeah, I think it's just based on the true story.
Okay.
Inspired by
like a
larger
Hollywood
than life-
version.
Yeah, it's like a dramatized version.
Yeah.
One guy says a passable cybercrime thriller kind of manages to be interesting, though the invented stuff feels very invented.
Huh.
Robinson gives a suitable assistant director nervy and understated performance. Oh no, that's the actor. That's the guy who plays Ross Ulbricht, I guess.
Huh. I'd be very curious to watch that. Even I don't really. Yeah.
I don't know. Might be worth a watch.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like sitting down reading the book. The book is pretty good, though.
I bet the book's really good. Yeah.
The book is pretty good. I mostly only skimmed it, but the parts I skimmed were pretty good. Pretty well
Probably
written.
goes in a lot more detail than you can get on a screen.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And it's a little more accurate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the Silk Road. And you guys can download the Tor browser app on your phones. You can access websites like this anytime, anywhere if you want. I know I do. Well, I don't. I just. You guys need a kidney or bone marrow? Yeah, Alex, thanks for joining me.
Chronic pain.
The dude used a green cane. He walked around with a green cane, and he was kind of fat and chubby.
And his name was Curtis Green.
Curtis Green, yeah.
And he had a green cane.
Or no, it was a pink cane. It was a pink cane. That's even better, yeah. No, he had a pink cane, I think, is the story.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's the legend of the Silk Road and the rise and fall of the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Dread Pirate.
Oh my goodness, and another funny thing, and then we'll end this episode, but there's a chart on the Wikipedia. There's a chart of the USD to Bitcoin value ratio from like during the time of the Silk Road shutdown. Like beforehand, it was like plateauing, kind of going up and down, plateauing out like really high. And then on the day the Silk Road got shut down, it plummeted.
Dude, that's insane.
And then on the climb back up, it climbed back up pretty quick, but it didn't get quite as high as it was before plateauing back out. I mean, now it's like crazy.
Yeah.
I think right now it's $30,000 per Bitcoin or something like that.
Wow.
Or, I don't know. It fluctuates more than pretty much anything else, I think. Yeah. But that's a crazy thing, though, Bitcoin. We should do an episode on that, too.
Bitcoin's nuts. I've steered clear. I did invest like $20 one time, and then it turned into like 50, and I was like, oh, that's sick. And then I looked like a week later, and it was like $5. I'm like, I'm not putting money in this.
It's literally the lottery, and there's people who are like, I'm going to get rich quick. And
I'm sure there's people that have made great amounts of money, but you are gambling.
For sure, 100%, yeah.
Gambling.
It's like gamblers love it, and it's also what ISIS uses to buy all their, and Hamas and all those people used to buy all their stuff.
Classic.
Because it's untraceable.
Right. Or unless we just give it to them. I know you want 4 more years of that.
I do.
Just give them the stuff.
Dude, I'm invested in all the people that make those things.
Yeah.
If Iran gets missiles, I make money.
Lockheed Martin. Bam, bam, bam.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. This has been another episode. And join us next time. We'll be covering, I don't even know what, but we'll be covering something. So thanks, Alex. You want to say bye?
Thanks, Chris. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.